Okay, uh, welcome to the third episode of the Playing Proxy guide series, I want to say. Like, I hope it's a guide at least. I just wanted to do a very, very quick section on the uh, runes you want to be taking. So, preferably Ghost and Teleport, however, some people do like taking Ignite. But yeah, let me just run through them real quick. So the one staple rune for playing Proxy is definitely Ghost. You 100% need Ghost. It's so useful. It's a 180-second cooldown. So if you use it in the first wave, so let's say we're up here and we start getting attacked, and we need to use Ghost to escape the oncoming attack. We escape through the jungle, whatnot. Just make sure we survive, basically, and we're not giving away first blood to someone trying to cheese us when we don't have to. So always use Ghost at level 1. If you're trying to do a first wave proxy, a Darius, a Kennen, something that comes to attack you. Oh, Jesus, the map's going everywhere. Chase away with Ghost. Unless they have Ghost, you're completely fine. And because it's a 180-second cooldown, 3 minutes, the next time you're going to have it up is about 4 minutes 30-ish. And at that point, you won't, like... What am I saying? You won't need Ghost again if you successfully escape this, if you go back to proxying, until about 5-7 minutes. Most likely. It's very rare that I'm in a scenario where I've had to use Ghost at level 1 to succeed with the proxy, and I've had to have it again. Because by the time this is back up, you should be level 3-ish. So you have your E, and I advise taking W third. Even though the Q gives you more damage, so you clear waves faster, I think W's way more important, because say you're chasing away, and the enemy jungler comes. Oh no, it's a Kha'Zix. He jumps on you, you throw your W, you use your E, and you goofling, and you're completely safe then. Same applies to laners. Laner starts running down. You goofling him and just run away. Or alternatively, you could just use your W to... So if they're running down here, you could chuck your W there, and they're forced to run through that. Same with here. But also, if you need to do a suicide and they haven't hit you, then you just do that. And you get out, and it takes them ages to get across that. I mean, it's a 60 seconds slow. 60% slow, 60 seconds slow. AFK warning. But this also applies here. You fill that area up. Applies here. You fill this area up. Here you fill that up. Here, just pretty much every entryway in the jungle you can completely fill up with goofling. We're not goofling, with just the goo. So I think it's extremely useful to take W third. There is a fringe argument for taking W second even, but I don't think it's useful, because it only matters that much when the jungler starts coming, and by that time that you should be around, like, about to hit level 3, if not level 3. But plus, if they jump on you, you can create distance with Fling, whereas if they jump on you and you use W, it's a bit trickier to get yourself that distance. Because, of course, they would be slowed and grounded, but you still have to run away from them, which means running through them if they've jumped onto you. Whereas with Fling, if they jump on you, you just buffer the E and fling them as they jump onto you, and then you create distance immediately. So think of your Kanes with their Qs, Kha'Zix with their Es, Nidalee with their Ws. I can't think of who else is in meta right now for jungle. Lee Sins with their Qs. If you throw your W down on a Lee Sin, he can't use his second cast Q, and he can't use his W. So he might land his Q. If he's standing on your W, he can't actually jump to it. So you can get some distance with that, because he'll be slowed and grounded, so the distance Lee Sin can jump to you by is only a limited space. So if you get out of that limit, then he can't actually follow up with the second cast Q. Just something to keep in mind. But yeah, so that's just that was a bit of a tangent, but I think it's important just regarding Ghost. I mean, in that tangent, Ghost is already back up. Another thing which is mentioned in the Singed 420 guides, I think it's the first or second episode. If you're playing against someone with Ghost, so like a Darius with Flash Ghost, or a Hecarim with Ghost, or Olaf with Ghost, if they use Ghost after you, then they win. Because if you look here, your champion gains increased movement speed and can move through units for 10 seconds. Moving through units is incredibly useful. They should just add it to Singed passive. In pre-season, there's so many body blocking moments where minions would just like completely freeze you and you'll get stuck in them. It's ridiculous. Moving through units is so useful now because of how messed up the minions are. But yeah, the important bit here is grants a maximum of 29% move speed after accelerating for 2 seconds. Stop giving me an AFK one. This happens like every episode, I swear. And yeah, so if you ghost first, then you reach your maximum move speed first, but then it also dissipates faster. And if someone uses ghost afterwards, then they'll reach their maximum speed later when you go into decline. So you'll be slowed down and they'll be accelerating still. So they always catch up with you in that regard. That's why you always ghost after they've ghost, unless it's like completely mandatory that you ghost, like you will die if you don't ghost in that instance. But yeah, that's enough for Ghost. Ghost is a phenomenal summoner spell for Singed, and there is no exception with Proxying. It's mandatory in my opinion. I don't think you can swap it out for Flash. Because Flash is a small gap builder. So like, yeah, sure, you could run down here and Flash over here. But if you're playing against a Kane or something, then they're already over. Lee Sin will ward jump or Q over. With Ghost, you free yourself up to avoiding skill shots more easily. And also just dragging them around the jungle with you. Which can be really useful. Because one of the primary focuses of proxying is to bring the attention top lane. If you've brought the jungler up top, you don't want to just flash away. Because then he's just like, oh, okay, well I went top, I'll take my Krugs, I guess, and then I'll go gank mid, or I'll rotate bot. If you have Ghost, and you're running around his jungle, laughing or like spamming your emotes, then he's going to dedicate way more time to you, which means mid lane is freed up much more, bot lane's freed up much more, your jungler is freed up much more. And if you play it correctly, or you play it successfully, then you can really just drag out a jungle gank. Like the most extreme example I've ever had is keeping a jungler like on me in this side of the jungle for about a minute and a half, I think, where I was just running around. I used Ghost, and then when Ghost wore off, I used my ultimate. Top laner gave up, went back top. Mid laner was busy fighting my mid laner, so I just had this jungler on loop. And he kept going back to try and do his red. Oh goodness, I can't remember what champ it was. I want to say it was Kha'Zix, actually. It must have been. And he kept coming in, trying to start this, and I would continually run in and stop him. And then every time he jumped, I would just throw my W down when it was off cooldown. And one thing when you're doing extended chases instead of leaving your Q on continually, you want to double tap it. So you leave little clouds that he'll run into. Because if he's chasing you for that long, you don't want to just have no mana. You want to be very conservative with it when you can be. So doing that, see 1, 2, 3. And that will still be as good for the purposes of this, which is just softening him down until he has to back off or recall, and then going to try and stop him, and then repeating the cycle until one of you dies or one of you escapes. And like, if you think about that Kha'Zix is a gank heavy jungler. He's just spent 1.5 minutes chasing me to no avail. Like, sure, I'll lose out on farm at top lane, but that really doesn't matter so much, because I'm taking all of his time. Think of how much my jungler would have done in 1 minute 30. Consider the first clear of the jungle takes about 3 minutes. Doing red, doing a camp here, doing blue, doing gromp, and then going here takes about 3 minutes. So he's just spent half of that. That's 2 camps doing absolutely nothing, just running around, wasting his time, not ganking lanes. My jungler has 1 minute 30 to just do whatever. Could take Herald, he could take Dragon, he could kill mid, he could kill bot, he could counter jungle him in the bot side. It's just a world of opportunity. It's a really useful strat, and Ghost allows you to do most of this. But anyway, yeah, I swear to God now, enough of Ghost. Onto Teleport. Teleport's a really simple one. With proxying, you want as much uptime in the lane as possible. So you want to be in the lane as much as you possibly can. Well, I say in the lane, I mean in the proxy lane. you want as much uptime as you can, because if you do the proxy first 3 waves or whatnot, and then you suicide to tower, and then I don't know why my ghost just worked there. If you are coming back to lane after doing that, like you missed a cannon for the next wave or something, you can just TP back in pretty much straight away, and you just hard shove. You just hard shove, try and create an opportunity. I'm not doing a very good job of hard shoving because I'm trying to show an example, but you hard shove into the tower. This one can be a tricky bomb. Trying to deal with this bit, because the lane is probably going to be poking you, and it's a real pain in the ass to try and shove this last little bit into tower. I'm sure you've had this issue. But yeah, and as we've talked about before, you could run down here, or you could run around here and try and catch the wave, which I just about will. Wait, nice. And then boom, you're off to the races again. Yeah. So that's roughly it for teleport. It's literally just keeping uptime in your lane, and sometimes if you find opportunities, like teleporting bot for a gank. But this is really risky, because if you don't get a kill, then it's not worth the teleport. And yeah, for proxying, you throw away a lot of pressure if you teleport bot for a gank. You only do that if you can secure at least 1 kill. Best case scenario, you secure that 1 kill, maybe get some more, and then you go and take Dragon. It's very similar to Shen ulting, in my opinion. Because when you're playing Shen, you want to ensure that either one of your teammates doesn't die, or you want to ensure that you get a kill off of it. You don't want to do it and have nothing happen. I think a similar thing applies to when you're playing proxy singed. In lane singed, it's more acceptable because you're not trying to create that pressure top lane. Well, not as much as any other top lane champion. But with Proxy Singe, the pressure is really where the strategy comes alive. So if you're willing to sacrifice a few waves, let the top laner actually get a breath, maybe pushed into your tower, taking all of the attention from top side because you're not there, you're at bot side. Unless you can like get one kill to put your side of the team in the advantage, or to generate gold for yourself, or to secure a dragon or a bot tower if it's very close to going down. Otherwise, it's not worth teleporting for ganks. But as you get into higher elos, you will notice that you sort of have to help your team, like directly more than indirectly in a lot of scenarios. But yeah, so that's about it for teleport. Very simple. And then onto ignite, which you would be taking instead of teleport. You don't take teleport ignite. You always make sure you have ghost. So yeah, if you want to take ignite, you swap out teleport. Ignite is there just because, I mean, personally, I wouldn't have gone for this option. I don't think it's the best, but I have been seeing a lot of success with Ghost Ignite proxy players, where they'll do the proxy, and then they'll look for kills in the jungle. It's insane. So in between each wave, they'll go around the jungle, survey the camps, see where the jungler is, have wards knocking about, like that's a good ward to put there, and just around that corner can be good as well. But obviously not necessary, because like if you have everything ordered, then it's a bit hard considering you have 2 trinkets at a time. But yeah, so I see them keep bits warded just around. So either of these 3 brushes. Oh my goodness, brushes. Is that? Why does this sound so incorrect to me? Anyway, you keep some of these planty areas warded, and that way you can survey where the jungler is. Your team, when you're in higher elos, will be monitoring where the jungler is anyway, so they'll be saying like, oh, he's here. He was last seen at Scuttle, so he's probably going to move up here, blah blah blah, or blah blah blah, or oh no, he's like in my Nexus, and we're about to lose game, etc. But it's good to have that. And then if you have Ghost, so you can outrun most junglers, and you have Ignite, mix that with your ultimate as well. So let's say we've just finished proxying a wave, and we see Kha'Zix again. Why not? He's trying to take his red buff. We just run in, we're just like, no. We run in, we start wailing on him, kicking his ass. We could even try and steal the red buff from him. I've seen that happen quite a few times. Stealing red buff, stealing big raptor, and stealing a big Krug. Because your E does percentage health maximum 300 bonus damage against monsters and minions. So 6% target max on level 1 E. So you can do a lot of damage with it. So nice. I did 200 damage there with just Dark Seal and level 1 Flame. Go on, get back there. But yeah, so it's good to mess around with the enemy jungler, because just like with the Ghost strategy, you're wasting their time, and with this you can actually kill them, which is even better, because you're not only wasting their time, you're denying them gold if you're trying to steal these things, and you're also adding on to that time you're wasting of theirs a death timer. I will note though that this is, I mean, it goes without saying, this is superior if you're playing against squishy junglers, so like Kha'Zix, Elise, Nidalee. A lot of the meta champions at the moment. Graves is kind of squishy if he doesn't have his passive stacks. But yeah, and also it has the notion of making Singed into a prickly ball. So let's say you're proxying, and you're taking a lot of damage, right? And you're pretty low, and the enemy jungler knows you're pretty low, and you're running around just like, oh damn, I sure do look like a free kill right now. Wow, oof. But let's suppose you have your ultimate and your ghost and ignite. If they come and try and kill you, you can outplay that very easily, and you can outdamage them and kill them. So it's always nice to have ignite, just because the enemies will look at you and be like, do I really want to tackle this right now? Because this could be a big issue for me. Like, can I take him on if he has ignite and I don't? Because junglers don't have an offensive summoner spell. The game just crashed. Nice. I mean, I'll end it there because that was actually all I had to say. I just wanted to talk about teleport, ignite, and ghost. So yeah, thank you for watching, I guess, if you did.